guys. This morning, actually, I want to share something that it's been a few years back that God taught me a little lesson. And I always, when I look back at this little lesson and how he taught it to me, I laugh because it was funny, and then it wasn't, and it became very funny again. But I think all of us have had the experience that we thought everything's going, good and dandy. Well, in a field of greens, everything's working good, and suddenly, like, out of nowhere, we're sidelined, and you're like, huh? What happened here? I thought everything was good. And out of nowhere, we're like, okay, that didn't know what that means, but what happened? So, and if you're a sports fan, you will understand this. My household is a sports fan, and so my entire husband's side of the family is a sports fan. And so coming to our territory, Cowboy territory, Lakers territory, yeah, here you go. I'm the only King survivor here in my family. And so, but the funny thing is, I'm not too much of a sports fan. My whole family is, except for me. I'm the black sheep of the family. But when they're playing games, and you have the moment where you're watching your game, you're watching your team, and they're doing great. They're winning and all this, and just, like the last quarter or the last half, those last few minutes, out of nowhere, they lose the game. And so me, like the outsider that I am, I'd be like, but honey, what's the big deal? Don't answer. He looks at me, he goes like, you don't understand. And I'm like, it's just a game. Don't answer. Because I get it all the time. It's like, honey, you don't understand. When you're a fan, it means everything. Yeah, you go, I get it, yeah. And so, and the reality is, to me, on the outside, I was like, but it's just a game. You win some, you lose some. No big deal. To a fan, oh no, It's like Holy Land coming, that something happened, battles on. They're getting mad, like the fuming's going, pacing, yelling at that TV, blaming every single body, blaming on the business. And it's like, you lost it, you're not focused. Everything happens. That's what happens in my household. And so in the scriptures, I found this passage that it gives us a little glimpse of the idea that sometimes we become passionate in something that maybe to the world is so like, why? That's just, why? Why are you doing that? Doesn't mean anything. But in 2 Samuel chapter 23, verses 11 to 12, we read this passage. We know in this passage as the David's mighty men. It gives us the account of those men, warriors that were with David, especially the three top ones, because they did certain things that were amazing with great exploits. They did things that were, maybe to us, we're like, where did they get the strength? And we know where it comes from. We know it's God. And these warriors, they serve and protected David. In this account, we read the victories, but we read a passage, as we read across, we read a passage of a warrior named Shammah, which was one of the three top ones. And this is what it says. Next to him was Shammah, son of Agi, the Herethite. When the Philistines banded together at the place where there was a field full of lentils, Israel's troops fled from them. But then Shammah took his stand in it. In the middle of the field, he defended it and struck the Philistines down, and the Lord brought about a great victory. Now, according to the scriptures and some historians, they said that the Philistines were coming to attack the people of God. And when Israel saw them, and you imagine this, you had the Philistines, some of them were big men with arm, great defenses and all of this. And I just imagine this, think of little David, just not the army of Israel not too well equipped against these Philistines. And maybe they were just field work, working in the fields. It said there was a field, so they didn't have probably equipped to battle a huge army coming against them. And I don't blame them. I would have run faster than they would. I remind me of that little commercial from Red Bull where the two little antlers are there and there's a lion sneaking back. And the antler takes the little sip of the bull and the other antler tells him, that's not going to make you run faster than a lion. It says, I don't need to run faster than a lion. I just need to run faster than you. I will be running really fast. And so it says that all of them run except for one man, that he took his stand in the middle of the patch, a patch full of lentils. Now, let's think about it. It's just lentils, barley. If you're in a fast, you're probably eating them. They're really good. But it's just it's not like a huge field. It's not like a great mountain. It says there was a patch. I don't know how big the patch would have been, but, according to scriptures, it wasn't a big piece of land. But he stood in the middle of that patch and he defended it. Now, let's think about this. How many of us will risk a life for something small? Like literally, like willing to lose our lives and willing to lose everything for something really small. Now, I know that inside of us, we have the capability. And I got to tell you, I see it every single year. I witness it. Every single year at Christmas at the Walmart parking lot when there's only one parking space left and it's you against 5 other cars. Oh, no, that's my parking spot. And you're going around and around. And if you have a co-pilot, a little passenger with you, you tell them, go run and stand in the house. And they run. And they stand in the little parking lot, in a little parking space. Like, you're not taking this from me. Or maybe you tell the person who's with you, go get the shopping cart and put it in the parking space. So nobody will park there. And then when we get there, we park. Don't do that, okay? No. I've never done that. No, that's how I know. No, just kidding. Or let's talk about Black Friday, going after the one thing that everybody's going after. Open back in the days, this little commercial. And going like people trample themselves for something so small, but they're willing to go for battle for a TV. Come on. I remember my first Black Friday shopping, never really went because most of the time I actually worked at retail and worked on Black Friday. So when I didn't have to, I just don't dare to go into those stores. But we were coming back, and of course, Mr. Brother Rick, like, let's go into that store. I'm like, why? We don't need to get killed. And so we went in, and we're like, it was packed. I was like, I couldn't even walk. And I'm like, somehow we got lost. Like, people were just shoving us, and he got into one way, and I got to another one. And then out of nowhere, I guess there was this big deal about a TV that was on sale, like a regular $500 sale for something $80, $100 or something like that. There were only 10. And the guy was giving, this worker was giving out tickets, like the golden ticket. And for some reason, he gave me one. I got the last ticket. And I'm like, I don't need a TV. Why did you give me one? And everybody else was just giving me this look like, we're about to jump you. And I'm like, I'm texting Brother Rick, and I'm like, where are you? I need your help. And I told him what happened. He goes, get it. And I'm like, we don't need a TV. And I was like, but get it. Everybody wants it, so get it. I'm like, anyway. So I don't know why, but we ended up getting a TV. But in the process, people were willing to jump in on this little ticket, and I didn't even want it. And so eventually that became a gift for a wedding that we went the next year. So hopefully that couple appreciates a TV that I almost died for. I know my young people are here. And I know every year there's always that popular game that is coming out. And everybody wants it. You're ready to go for it. You're begging your mom. You're willing to do anything for that one item. So moms, dads, make note. And I always remember this is the one that make me laugh all the time, because I used to work when those were on sale, those Nike Jordans. Boy, were they willing to go for that. You see, it is in us. There's a nature in us to go for something that we want. It might be insignificant. To me, it's just a TV. It's just a pair of shoes. It's just a parking space. No big deal. But in that moment, that little thing becomes a big deal. For you sports fan, that game, that was a big deal. And there's times that God calls each one of us to stand for something that maybe to the world is insignificant. The world might say, but it's no big deal. But you know in your heart that to God it is a big deal.